Okay. Okay.
Bene, grazie di essere qui oggi. Abbiamo l'onore e il privilegio di avere la professoressa Katalin Karikò, Premio Nobel per la Medicina 2023, che come sapete insomma, ha contribuito in maniera determinante a salvare il mondo, devo dire, perché grazie alle sue scoperte è stato possibile in un brevissimo tempo ottenere vaccini durante la pandemia, e in un tempo così breve che per noi che facciamo i medici, quando ci veniva chiesto, ci sembrava impossibile. In realtà questo è stato possibile perché lei ha speso gran parte della sua vita a lavorare per rendere possibile le terapie basate su RNA messaggero. Non so come vogliate procedere, se volete cominciare con qualche domanda a voi.
Any journalists would like to ask a question?
Yes.
One
Please.
by one, please. As you like. She speaks beautiful English if you want. She's from Rai.
She's from Rai, yeah.
Rai TV.
Quindi non fa un'introduzione?
No.
Il cancro è la nuova pandemia. Perché secondo lei questo aumento così importante di tumori e come l'mRNA messaggero può aiutare nella cura?
I am not aware that now is increasing the cancer occurrence. This is what she said.
Yeah.
I am not aware of. Do you have a data for that now more cancer is occurring?
Beh, in Italy is a new pandemic, sure, because a lot of people died every day from cancer.
Yeah, but you said that it's increasing.
Yes,
There is
because,
no data for
if
that.
I may say so, you just said it's increasing, but the problem is she's saying that you need to give her the data on why you feel that cancer is increasing in Italy. Like it might be the fact that some people don't go to the doctor, they don't get a checkup. So in effect, from what I read on some PubMed data about very famous scientific journals, but we can also ask Professor Lavia because he's a medical doctor, that this could be a cause because also during the pandemic, there were delays in people getting checkups and everything. So if you'd like to take the floor, Dr. Lavia.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that what we are doing to treat cancer, I mean, messenger RNA is used to generate cancer vaccines. That was actually both the CureVac and BioNTech was established to make a cancer vaccine, 2000 and 2008. And not just vaccines, but messenger RNA, code for antibodies or code for cytokines, which is used in a clinical trial. Right now, more than 150 clinical trial ongoing with messenger RNA. Half of them is infectious disease. About 30% is cancer related. Not all of them is cancer vaccine. Some of them, as I mentioned, messenger RNA, cytokine coding, coding mRNA, which makes cold tumor hot, or identifying some protein on the cancer cell surface, or it could be individualized cancer vaccine, or it could be shared tumor antigen-related cancer vaccine. So there are a lot of progress is on this field, and this ongoing, not approved any of these therapy yet, but a lot of progress. Vaccines, antibodies, mRNA coding for cytokines is ongoing clinical trial for treating patient with cancer, or some of them, treatment with, like the vaccination, individualized vaccination is inhibiting returning of the tumor, which once already removed.
Altri? Prego. Venga. Ma comunque la senti, direi.
I just wanted to... la RAI, laboratoria della RAI di Milano. Scusatemi. Are you worried about what's happening in the US with the Trump administration? I mean, about stranger students like you were and the scientists in Harvard, their universities, and about funds, millions of dollars, which were destined to science and research.
Yes, so that's why we are here today. I will talk to colleagues here, and I am talking to you, because as I can see why the situation occurred in the US, because we scientists did not talk to you, or together we did not educate the public about what we are doing. We didn't try to say simple language. One of the reasons, it brought up, for example, the Drosophila research. So that, everybody, if you read the Twitter, everybody was cheering that he brought up the Drosophila research, $50 billion or something spent. Because the average person think that we try to research Drosophila, which is insect, to make them live longer or happier life. And we did not explain that it is a model animal. And we discovered things in those animals, and we discovered human has it, and we created, based on this knowledge, medicine for the patient, for the person. And so we did not explain how the taxpayers' money is spent. And this is you and me together. We have to work on it. That's what I feel. So that whatever is happening, we cannot change much on that, but we can see what led to it and work on it together. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Please come forward. Venite avanti.
Lucia Scopelliti, agenzia stampa di N Cronos. Volevo chiederle cosa ne pensa della ondata di sfiducia che in alcune fette della popolazione, parte della popolazione, c'è riguardo ai vaccini, e se pensa che la politica e anche le posizioni di Kennedy Jr. sui vaccini possano essere un problema per gli Stati Uniti.
Yes, so that during the pandemic, scientists, my fellow colleagues, everybody was busy in the laboratory, and there was a gap when people who just educated themselves in the social media on immunology, they went to the studio and they get 5 minutes fame, and they said things they were not educated and did not understand. And then in the social media, they are spreading more news, and together we all have to work on it. Because, listen, in the social media, they make money. How much time you spend on the page? And if the page is generating fear, hate, you spend more time. If you read that the broccoli is good for you, you never read that article. But it says that it is toxic, you will spend more time because you are eating and you say, oh, I thought that is healthy. And they do not care about the content. Everything can be fake. They just want to make money. And you spend more time there, you make more money. They make more money. So that's what is a problem. And there were genuinely people who were interested to understand how this mRNA vaccine worked, and we were not there to tell them that, hey, there are mRNA-based vaccines that were around, because attenuated viruses containing mRNA were already given to the public. And we did not explain, and then there were, the gap was filled with people who, generated fear. So that we missed that opportunity. There were genuinely interested people, and we should respond to them. And of course, there are people who already set up their mind, they know everything better, and there is this Dunning-Kruger effect, is that people who knows less, more confident that they know the truth. That's the truth.
Think that Kennedy's position about vaccine is a problem for the US?
Everywhere is a problem, here, everywhere. So that we have to work, you and me and everybody who is here. And this afternoon I will tell to the colleagues, tomorrow I will talk in a conference here, 5,000 people will be there. I will tell them, everybody has to learn how to formulate and explain simple way. So they should go home and explain father in 3-5 minutes what they are doing and how important it is for them. You see, that's what's missing. Because we scientists like to talk to each other, isn't it? You and me, just we like to talk, and we not spend enough time. That's how I see it. Thank you.
Le faccio le domande a nome di Irene Perfetti di One Health, che è collegata via streaming. Quali ritiene siano oggi le applicazioni più promettenti della tecnologia a mRNA oltre ai vaccini e quali ostacoli scientifici o etici dobbiamo ancora superare per realizzarle?
Yes, so the messenger RNA, as I mentioned, used for infectious disease vaccines, cancer, rare disease, and autoimmune disease is already phase 3 trial. And I was very much happy that we have messenger RNA because many of the drug, which protein, is very expensive. And many people would not be able to afford it. But, the protein drugs are expensive because they have to purify and make sure that it's properly folded. But when you get the mRNA, you make your own medicine, and it will be affordable, much cheaper. And so that's how I could see is the great benefit. And fear, of course, you could see with a knife you can cut the bread or you can kill somebody, or with a drone you can send medicine far away in Africa, or you can send a bomb. It's, the human being, but I do not see that how messenger RNA can be injected or how it could be weaponized. I cannot see it, but hopefully there is none.
Thank you. Giulia Bonezzi del Giorno. Going back to what my colleague said, the big lack of confidence that people show for science. We saw it during the pandemics. Mm-hmm. It probably dates. It was there before. Mm-hmm. So how would you explain to some people who is on the social media how the mRNA technology function? Is it mm-hmm. like a metaphor? Mm-hmm. How do you explain it?
Yes. So, we scientists did not invented messenger RNA. Nature invented and was discovered 64 years ago. So the messenger RNA actually is a very labile molecule, and I don't have time today to talk about in the research meeting, but like 4 or 5 years they were trying to find, because they knew that it exists. Why? Because the DNA is in the nucleus, and they could see that the protein was made in the cytoplasm, another separate place, But they didn't know that how the information get from here to there, because they couldn't find DNA in the cytoplasm. So it's really the messenger RNA is a copy of the DNA made in the nucleus and then sent to the protein synthesis factory to give instruction what protein to be made. And then it degrades. So that's what I thought, at the beginning. Oh, this is like, okay, the messenger RNA is not the drug. It codes for a protein. Maybe that protein is the, which has a therapeutic effect. Or the protein is an enzyme which produces something, like nitric oxide or something, which is the drug. So, but you can give the mRNA, you make the protein, RNA degrades quickly, protein degrades, and if it is helpful, you can repeat it. It is like more like a conventional medicine, rather than when you deliver a DNA or a gene and that you cannot expect the same way.
Would you say it's like instructions?
Instruction.
Not giving drugs, but instructions to the
to how to make the drug. Mm-hmm. Good. You see that you know better. That's why we have to work together, because yes, and together we can figure out the language, because we have to educate the public. They want to know. There are still people who want to understand. And we haven't done that, but here is the time.
World Health Organization is talking about the new pandemic, and they say Italy isn't taking part in this. What should we expect? Should we expect another pandemic or another virus that's going to come about?
So, yeah, I have to say I don't have any crystal ball to see the future, but, you know, something happened and we learn that we get closer always to the, you know, the animals, the jungle and so on, and I don't know, I am not expert, you know, they give me a prize, but I am not expert on many other fields, but, you know, this, it could happen, and we should be prepared. And I have to say that why we could respond so quickly is because there are decades of, and thousands of scientists were working on the field. And if I, you know, we just talk about the those who could make vaccine, but if I can say that in case of this coronavirus, 1982 was the first coronavirus meeting in Germany, and every year those who were expert on the coronaviruses, they gathered. And so when they looked at the sequence, for example, in 2020, they could see that what is on the surface of the molecule. So nobody hesitated that, okay, what I have to make a vaccine against, and there were 150 trials started, you know, to make it. And if it is happening earlier, for example, this pandemic, you have to think they would need a package from Wuhan because, you know, in the 2006, first time I could order genes because people in 2020, they just received the information and it was sufficient. From information, they could start to develop a vaccine. If it is 20 years earlier, they would need material to start with. So many level on the progress was made. And that's what already we can expect, that we learned so much. And again, you know, we can act. It was too long? Oh, yeah, yeah. So anyway, so that what is missing is that was good WHO that you know, there were like very mobile units. There is something happening in one corner of the earth. They could go there, quickly detect and check and then react. So that's, you know, less funding now for that, but you know, preparation is there, and we are hopeful that we can act quickly again.
More questions? Corriere della Sera, would you like to ask a question?
Buongiorno, la faccio in italiano che faccio prima, scusate. Durante la pandemia però c'è stata una grande apertura verso gli studi clinici, cioè c'è stata una vera e propria rivoluzione anche con tutte l'open access, eccetera. Ma da questa cosa non si potrà tornare indietro. Ormai la strada è tracciata, non si può pensare di tornare indietro con gli studi dando meno denari o bloccando le cose. Cosa ne pensa? O è un'illusione la mia?
Yeah, so that I agree that we need money. That's what. No, I have to.
That's correct. Because,
I said that during the pandemic time, everything changed because everything was much easier, and we had open.
She's saying in English now.
We had open access. All the studies were immediately available for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we can't go back to the past. I mean, and notwithstanding what Mr. Trump wished to do.
Yeah. So
he can't stop research anyway.
Not just research, but all of the. You remember the publications. As long as the word was there, something about corona, immediately everything freely was available, which was very nice, and we want this to happen again. And I mean, you know that today when I made my presentation today for the Today talk, you know, I was looking at the PubMed was 1996. Can you imagine? Before that, there was not. And the gene bank, 92. Prior to that, there were no gene bank. Can you imagine now that how everything was established? Those were the American taxpayers' money paying for all of these things. And, you know, the clinicaltrial.gov, that you can look it up the whole wide world, what kind of clinical trial is going on. is again established. So there are a lot of freely available information are there, and you know, collecting. Hopefully, it stays there, you know, and the present administration will not eliminate. But of course, more freely available things for science is needed. But for that one, you know, the politicians will vote if we together, you and me, convince the public that is important, because everybody will be sick in one point of their life. And then, you know, if we have we can develop some kind of drugs, you know, they have to help us. And somehow we need that, yeah?
Actually, you may want to emphasize that for doing this and to achieve this, it is mandatory to fund the basic research. Okay, which is
make a note on that.
Thank you.
Another question, if I possible.
Yeah, sure.
Qui oggi lei fa un seminario agli studenti.
Today you're giving a seminar on the development of the therapy of mRNA. She wants to know what are the new therapies and for what diseases are they, and if they're already being used, if they're already applicable to patients.
Yes, so as I mentioned, best of my knowledge, right now ongoing is 150, at least, a clinical trial using messenger RNA. I said half of them is vaccine for against viruses, also bacteria like Borrelia, which cause Lyme disease, or tuberculosis, TB, and also parasite like malaria. It is right now ongoing human trials for this. I mentioned, you know, 30% is cancer-related, which is vaccines like shared tumor antigen or individualized cancer vaccine or messenger RNA recognizing, coding for some antibody recognizing some kind of cancer-related proteins. There are rare diseases where they can providing messenger RNA and supplement some missing protein. These were like transthyretin amyloidosis that will help a patient. Mostly these are delivering messenger RNA to the liver. And that could be also gene therapy, like transthyretin amyloidosis. Patient makes a toxic wrongly folded protein, and then you can stop it. And they are try to addressing and already clinical trial when they deliver to the patient the mRNA, and it will go to the bone marrow, and then changing some genetic such as sickle cell anemia or thalassemia, beta thalassemia. Because there are already therapy for that, but they had to take out, you know, from the patient the bone marrow, ex vivo treat, and that's very expensive, $500,000 or something. But to do just injecting the mRNA would be, again, affordable, which I emphasize every time, to make the medicine affordable. And I mentioned autoimmune diseases, which is for lupus and for myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis is phase 3 trial. They make mRNA, using mRNA to make CAR T cells. And that's how they can help the patient. So, you know, so many applications there to generate the mRNA is very cheap, very fast, and so it will make affordable medicine for many, many different diseases. They try to push through the blood-brain barrier, you know, to treat something in the brain, but still needs more science, more funding. Is not to substitute the CAR T cells. It can be used, the messenger RNA, to code for the CAR, put to the, so that you can generate CAR T cells with viruses, and it is how it is more than 30,000 people already treated with that, but you can make it with messenger RNA. One of them is the Sleeping Beauty transposon. You can make it permanent, CAR T cells, using messenger RNA. But you can make a transient for some disease like, I think they tried the AML, you know, that where the target may be also present in healthy cells, and then it could be just transient. And the autoimmune disease, what they use.
One more question.
Sorry, sometimes I try to say so many things and... Yes.
In un tempo in cui la ricerca deve confrontarsi con tagli ai finanziamenti, fuga dei cervelli e disinformazione crescente, cosa si sente di dire ai giovani scienziati?
Yeah, so you know that I was also a young scientist, and so I live with my family to go to the U.S. And if there is cutting the, you know, things that, you know, maybe scientists can leave somewhere, come back to here if you are supporting, you know, the research, or go to other countries in Europe, or maybe they can go back, not go back, but go to China, you know, because mRNA research is ongoing. If you try to find, some people ask me whether mRNA therapy is that for certain diseases, and when I punch in the clinicaltrials.gov website, I can see is many of them is in China. So research and, you know, supported there. But you know, science is fun, and I never get much money, you know, and I don't need any kind of hobby, because science is reading, and that's the major things, you know, that you can study. You know, I was just reading on LinkedIn today that Harvard put up all of the courses, what they are teaching there. So you don't have to go there. You can be here, and you can learn all of those things. You just don't get the Harvard diploma, and who cares? Yeah? The knowledge is there, and then you can use the knowledge and then proceed. Yeah, so research is fun, and then, you know, if you enjoy it, then you don't need...
Sounds like a fantastic answer to the brain drain, actually.
Reverse, because they can come back here if, you know...
Back to homeland.
Yes. Yeah, that some European countries is opening arms for, you know, scientists to come back. You know, I have to say, 1985, I left the country. I went to the United States. The biggest advantage was that there were great lectures. But now, 2005, we have YouTube. Now that you can look at all of these lectures, but today the problem is that you don't know which one to listen. But, you know, there are opportunity to learn all of the Harvard courses, watch videos on YouTube, and you can learn. You don't need to go to the library. Let's say we are right now there, but you know that on digitally available the information, so they can learn, and hopefully they find interesting project, because not just academia, there are industry, and we have to encourage here in Europe that they should be brave and then start companies, you know, when they are studying somewhere, and try to proceed, because 84% of the European patent filed by academic institution is not used. And we need that. We need that to develop a product, at least trying, you know, fair, try again, and that kind of pattern we should show them.
Organization, what consequences could have?
Yeah.
This is getting political.
Yeah. So I have to say, you know, I have nothing to say to it, you know, because they didn't ask me about whether they should or should not, and you know, there is both sides has something, you know, maybe too much organization, too much pushing the some paperwork or something, I don't know, because I was more acting in the laboratory and doing things, and even today, I just advocate for something that I believe and I can do something, rather than stand up for something that I have not enough knowledge. So yes, WHO has an important role, and for identifying, I told you, different problems and some direction for countries. But yeah, maybe they trim the budget, and the important things will stay there, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not involved in any politics, not in Hungary, not in the US, nowhere.
Posso un'ultima domanda? Se potesse tornare indietro e parlare con la lei appena arrivata negli Stati Uniti, cosa le direbbe oggi dopo aver vinto un Nobel?
Had the opportunity to
Yeah.
go back to the States, if you had stayed in Hungary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you do?
To the Katalin,
Yeah.
to the US. Now that you got the Nobel.
Yeah. So there is a book I wrote about my life, and if you read, you learn that several times I was terminated in my position, and without it, I wouldn't get Nobel Prize. Not that it was directly related, but it was, you always had to change and something. And all of this, what we have done, like with my colleague Drew Weissman, could have, or me, RNA, it could be done in Hungary, because, you need a table and a little equipment, so nothing phenomenal. But learning things and opening my eyes to many things. It was listening lectures in the US, and my colleague Drew Weissman could make a cell types, which I never even heard, but it was critical for it. So all of this knowledge came after that. So I don't know what I would tell to myself if I would go back. And
But do you think you would have gotten sufficient funds in Hungary?
I don't know. So that I have to say in the book also, I follow this Hans Scheyer, what he was writing about. He created the word stress for. I realized that actually most of this philosophy, what he was advocating, is the Stoic philosophy, which Marcus Aurelius actually wrote in Hungary, Budapest, in that called Aquincum. And so I followed that, but I didn't know. So I focus always on things which I can have an influence effect. And that was at the bench. I could decide which experiment I do. And then he always, this Scheyer said that, do not think about what if, or, you already made a decision, leave the country, now that you are not thinking about which I would go back and talk to myself, yeah, something. Yeah, but... yeah.
Quali sono gli istituti in Italia con cui sta collaborando?
What are the institutes in Italy that you're
La prima
collaborating with,
terapia
and what's
imminente
the
con
first
cui potremo
upcoming therapy that you're going to do, always in
Per
Italy?
quale tipo di malattia?
If you collaborate here in Italy, or
Yeah, so I have to say on something about what I am doing right now, or what I will do, is that when once upon a time, like in 2000 and something, that Moderna was giving a press release what they are doing, I told my CEO, Ugo Zahin at BioNTech, that Ugo, we should make a press release to say what we are doing. And he said to me, Katie, we will talk about when we have something to say. Okay. So that was my long answer to you, that, when we have some result, we will say what we are doing, yeah? Okay, we try, we will, don't worry, I don't relax,
it'll be a surprise.
yeah, working hard, and when we have, no matter if it's successful or not, what we set up to achieve, we will talk about. what we tried. Yeah, okay, come back.
Thank you.
3 years.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh.
Chiedi se possiamo farne una da vicino, possiamo farne un paio ravvicinate.
If you don't mind,
Okay.
grazie
Okay.
lei. No, she needs a break.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Scusami che